for the 1980s. Anne Marie Duggan, who led the field this week by almost 500 pins, is certainly a strong candidate for that title for the 90s. Both are hoping to add this event title to their long list of accomplishments tonight in the Three Rivers Open. ESPN is proud to present the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the state of Pennsylvania, the city of Pittsburgh, and Princess Lanes, host of this week's stop on the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour. It's the $70,000 Three Rivers Open. Hi, everybody. I'm John Neighbor, and what a show we have. We're here in Steeler country. You can steel yourself for a great performance because our top 5 finalists share 57 national titles between them. As we take a look at the top of the ladder, number 1 after the preliminaries is Anne Marie Duggan. Remarkable performance in match play, and she is certainly the top athlete with 494 pin lead over the field coming into tonight's championship ladder finals. Currently in second place is Kim Canady, who was the top qualifier on our last television show. She finished second there. She wants to move up this week. And currently in third place is Kim Adler, who shot an 801 to move from 9th to 3rd in the final 3 games, rolling 11 strikes in that position round. But before we meet those 3 top finalists, let's go down with our first matchup and Lisa Wagner.
Thanks, John. Qualifying in the number 4 position, Wendy Papanos. Wendy, you had the option to start or finish the match. You chose to start. Why?
I like to finish the match, and I had a little better shot on the right lane than I did on the left.
All right, thanks, Wendy. Good luck to you. And qualifying in the number 5 position, Lisa Wagner. Lisa, you mentioned the condition had to be such for you to go all the way up the ladder. Is it there?
So far, I feel it's pretty good. A little bit different than during the week, but, you know, totally used to that, so I'm just going to try and execute and make good shots.
All right, thanks, Lisa, and good luck.
Okay, thank you.
John, looks like these bowlers are ready to start.
Ready to start they are. Wendy Macpherson-Papanos electing to start on lane number 37. Wendy has already enjoyed 2 victories this year. With the victory here, she could become the first athlete of the season, of the year, to earn 3 individual titles, certainly putting her in a nice position for the Bowler of the Year honors. Starts it with a bang.
John, Wendy's playing right around the second arrow, a little bit inside between the 3rd and the 2nd. A nice little swing shot through the front part of the lane. Lisa has been practicing playing the lanes mostly on the outside of the lane between right around the 1st arrow. We'll have to see if that shot's there for her now.
And Messenger does get it down.
What a boost that was. Big motivation tool for her to watch that messenger come by. Lisa's game, very basic 4-step approach, nice push on the 1st step. High backswing, head still through the whole approach, nice deep knee bend. Watch the pin action here. Head pin up against the wall, 5 pin against the 7. Watch this head pin as it flies back and takes out the 10 just at the last minute. What a great opening shot.
No question about it. 2 in a row for the Rocket. And she comes out with the guns a-blazing.
2 great examples of what reactive resin balls do these days. Just demolish the pins. Matter of fact, more and more players are going to lighter weight bowling equipment, trying to increase their deflection.
Wendy's 5th show of the year. Her last title was at Little Rock, Arkansas this year, 1996. One of the very few bowlers who's been able to say they've won all 3 majors.
And she did that at the very young age of 18. Matter of fact, her first year on the LPBT tour, she won the U.S. Open.
I think a lot more is expected out of Wendy, perhaps, because of that great performance early in her career. Picks up the spare.
If you notice, Lisa does not use as much of the approach as Wendy does, but Wendy takes 5 steps, uses all of the approach, big steps, long slide. Deep knee bend once again. A lot of extension through the follow-through.
Oh, and the 8 does not. It's 2 frames in a row without a strike for Wendy. She had a slow spell a couple of years back. She told us yesterday she went 3 years without a win. Was beginning to question herself. But boy, she's certainly come back with a vengeance. Oh, and misjudged that one for an open in the 3rd.
Critical error by Wendy. She just misses to the right. The ball ends up in a slide. Does not break back enough to take out the 8.
So an opportunity for Lisa Wagner. Her most recent victory at the Queens tournament earlier this year. That was number 30, her 30th professional title. Little high. They dance around the 4-pin.
And you mentioned that title being her 30th year. It was a very special title for Lisa. The first time she had ever made the television finals in the WIBC Queens tournament. That's a very difficult tournament to not only make the finals in, but to win. It's completely a different format than what we use week to week out here on the ladies tour. Double elimination. There's a lot of luck involved in that particular event.
And she'll pick up the spare in the 3rd. Leala was interesting because she also, when we asked her, what does number 30 feel like compared to the others? She says, well, it's a paycheck. You know, it felt like $18,000 for her. And she's very much into the financial aspect. She's a professional athlete. She's not doing this for honor. She's doing it for the money.
As everybody in any career knows and wants, to go out and make the most they can, accomplish the most they can accomplish. Lisa Wagner trying to win the Triple Crown this year as well. Just one tournament away from that.
Oh, lucky for her. Thought she was going to leave the 7-10 there.
Exactly. Almost got an extremely bad break as the ball did hit the pocket. But the 7-pin almost remained. Down at the last minute, leaving just the 10-pin to stare down at her.
And very methodical, picking up the spare in frame number 4. Lisa Wagner enjoying a 20-pin lead over Wendy Macpherson-Papanos. Match number 1 continues when we return to Pittsburgh right after this. The championship round finals of the Three Rivers Open is being brought to you by Pearl Vision. Nobody cares. 3rd. She and her husband Nick recently bought a house out in Las Vegas. Not on the nose, but they all go down.
And that's a gorgeous house, I might add. I had the opportunity to have dinner at Wendy's home last time we were in Las Vegas. Look at that shot right around the 13th board. Ball coming in just a tad high. Head pin off the wall, trips out the 4-pin. Now look at the scoreboard.
Still trailing by 20. Wendy is a very popular woman on the tour. Was asked to be in 2 weddings this year. Teammates on the tour, if you will. Had some surgery on her right arm at the end of last year. Has come back nicely. Perfect shot.
And we'll mention those 2 weddings. Sandra Jo Shirey married a PBA player, Curtis Odom, in August, as well as Carol Giannotti, who's married and is now Carol Giannotti Block.
Out in Australia.
That's right, a couple weeks in Australia.
A lot of talent in this field. Look at that, 225 her average on this particular TV pair.
And I might add that the pairs really did vary from throughout the house.
And so a great strike for Lisa Wagner. We talked about the number of titles these 5 athletes share. It's not all they share. As we take a look at the fact that they're all Rookies of the Year. Lisa Wagner earned that title in 1980. Anne Marie Duggan in 1983. Wendy Papanos 1986 with the name Macpherson. Kim Canady in 1989. And Kim Adler, the youngest to join the tour, at 1991. All right-handers, all Rookies of the Year.
Great stat. I don't think that's ever happened.
It's highly unusual, and they're certainly earned the right to be on the broadcast this week. And the Rocket waits for another message that does not arrive.
Hard and fast. She mentioned nicknamed the Rocket due to the fact her ball speed is such that it's rocket speed.
And it goes pretty straight most of the time. Doesn't she really aim right for the pocket?
She does. When Lisa dominated in the 80s, you saw her often playing the line that she is playing right now, or even a little farther to the right, just right off the channel, right into the pocket, hard and straight.
Wendy's turn to get back into it.
Mentioned TV pair averages, or we saw Lisa's 225. Wendy's was as low as 196.
And a great strike for Wendy Macpherson-Papanos. We know that Bowler of the Year is a title she covets. We asked her how the pressure of that might affect her play.
I think I just need to take it week to week. I think if you are this close and you try to rush things, it doesn't quite end up the way you want it to. So I'm just trying to go week to week and, see what happens at the end. I can't control the outcome of anyone else. I can only control my own. So I just need to do my best.
Well, doing her best is certainly indicative of the fact that she's put 3 strikes on a row on the board there with the 7-pin count.
That came close to evening up the match at that point. The 7-pin count. Now she's trailing by just 3 pins.
Second in merit earnings and average. First on points and in the rankings. So Wendy's got a lot of great credentials going for her.
And John, if she wins tonight, she becomes the first woman to win 3 titles in a single year. Now there's a problem right now.
In this single year.
I'm sorry, you're right, in this single year. So that would give her the upper hand for Bowler of the Year. What they're looking at right now is the pins were, when they were reset back down, they were not set on spot. As you can see here, that would make that very easy for Wendy to chop. She's arguing the fact that her ball did not cause these pins to go off spot, that it was the pin setter when they reset them. She is usually allowed to have them reset in position.
Well, Rick Ramsey says, bowl away. She's already had an open in the 3rd frame of this match.
Well, she got it in it regardless. Great mental effort there, John.
So 3 strikes and a spare in the 7th. Wendy sits down. We'll be back with the conclusion of match number 1 when our coverage of the Three Rivers Open returns after that. Lisa Wagner up now in the 7th, working on a spare. Leads by 3. She told us yesterday, one of the things she likes to do in every match is concentrate on a single phrase, a single thing that reminds herself to focus on something. And this time around, it was keeping my feet under me.
Well, John, what she really meant by that. Whoa, nice break. Lisa's fiance, Brian Biller. Matter of fact, he proposed to her when she won the WWC Queens Tournament on the air. You can see the 3-pin lead for Lisa. She can make it 13 with a strike here in the 8th. Going back to that thought, John, she's trying to stop from walking left. She needs to walk straight in order to keep the ball on this line right here. That head pin up against the wall came back, almost tripped out all 3 of those pins.
And that shot gave her the lead once again, now in the 8th frame.
She's been having trouble walking left. When you play an extreme outside line, you've got to keep your feet dead and straight of you, dead straight in front of you. And this is what she's trying to do. A little quick with her timing there. Meaning her feet got way ahead of her arm swing.
She earned the title Bowler of the 80s decade. That title appears on the outside of her mobile home.
Here she's going to hit the line, really have to pull the ball through. It doesn't make it, basically falls off her hand, straight to the right. Never has a chance.
I was saying that bowler of the decade, a youngster walked past the outside of her mobile home, said, the bowler of the decade. She may be decaying, but she's not done yet. As she picks up the spare in the 8th. Brought a little laugh to her.
Still a 3-pin match here, John. Very close.
Wendy had a great fall last year and is expecting to do so again this year. The best finish, 2 wins, most recently in Little Rock, also in McAllen, Texas. There drops to a 6-pin deficit.
Wendy, as I mentioned earlier in this game, playing the lanes very differently than Lisa. She's playing inside. You'll see the other players coming on. Kim Adler, Kim Canady, Anne Marie Duggan. They're all going to be playing farther inside.
So Papanos trailing by 6 as we enter the foundation frame. Unfortunate open for Wendy in the 3rd. Lisa's trying to stay loose. Lisa's been having some trouble with her feet lately. She says they just don't feel right. And she's found it. Right in time.
Well, John, footwork and timing for women especially play a very important role in our games. Watch the pin action here. Once again, a light hit, head pin up against the wall. Ball deflects, barely takes out the 5. Head pin hits the 4. 4 completely takes out the 5, and the head pin took out the 7. Nice light hit.
Whatever works.
Women rely on their lower body for stability and their timing.
Well, she leaves the bucket.
And that's a big count error here for Lisa, as she is going to be giving away a minimum of 3 pins. Had she just left 9 on that shot, she was working on a spare. She would have kept that pin count up. Now she's only leading by 2 with a spare. And Wendy, with the strike in the 9th, can strike out and close her out.
Had a chance to put it away. And she bowls him over in the 9th frame. 2-pin lead. 10th frame coming up. Wagner 3 times Player of the Year, 4 times Bowler of the Year. And it should be noted that her victory at Queens this year began in the first match. She climbed the ladder there to win that title.
Big 10th frame. A double here will force Wendy to double. Oh, good shot. Shakes her head a little bit. Not quite getting the drive in the back end to force that 6-pin to take out the 10. 6-pin just sat in the channel. 10-pin jump, though. Wendy knows it's within her grasp right now, John, and she mentioned that she has learned how to win again. She did that at the Omaha Lancers Open in Nebraska. In May of last year, she said, I finally learned how to win again. And it was just that feeling of winning, that feeling of going out, getting it, and taking it. And for so long, she had lost it.
Very focused with great results.
Well, that strike right there, because of pin count, still forces Wendy Papanos to strike on the first shot, John.
203 Wagner's final score. Papanos working on a strike in the 9th. Needs a strike in 6. And it appears she knows how to win again. Papanos not to be outdone. Open in the third. Rallies to put 3 in a row in the middle of her game. Gets 2 more here in the 9th and 10th. Just needs 6 pins. Should be a fait accompli. Going to add to her points and ranking. Certainly well on her way to Bowler of the Year honors.
John, if you recall, when I interviewed her right before she started this match, the reason she chose to finish it, she said she had a little bit of a better shot on the right lane. She likes to put that pressure on herself. Obviously, she performs under that pressure. She draws from it. She proved it was the right decision to make.
So we'd expect her to make the same decision in the next.
Well, actually, the number 3 qualifier coming on now has the choice.
That's right. So 4 in a row. Lisa Wagner in 5th place takes home $2,600. Very valiant attempt. The next match coming up is going to be Wendy Macpherson-Papanos advancing to meet Kim Adler from Titusville, Florida. Great action still to come. Welcome back now as Wendy Papanos has advanced to meet Kim Adler in match number 2 here at the Three Rivers Open. John Neighbor and Lisa Wagner. Lisa, you said that Kim, knowing Wendy's success in those lanes, would probably elect to go first, and she did.
She did, John. Kim will have the pressure put on her. She is another player that performs very well under pressure. But more importantly, she took Wendy off the lane that she felt more comfortable on.
Strategic defensive move. Unfortunately, not a strike for Kim in the first shot. Qualified third with a 219.81 average, and a lot of that came out of the last block of games. She had some great averages all week long.
Big move in the last 3 games. 9th to the telecast to 3rd. As you mentioned in the open, shot 801, had a 279 in there, a 290, and a 232 or 233, something like that, I believe.
Great stuff. Wendy now getting back.
A lane breakdown, and we talked about it. Actually, lane 38, she was awarded 2 extra shots in the 10th frame for striking, so 37 really does not appear better for her than 38. She just had a little more practice on 38.
Nice shot.
Wendy will start building momentum right now, usually after you win the first match. The early match jitters go away. A lot of time delays, different things like that prevent the bowlers from just really getting out and going. She's got it under control now. Match number 2, the momentum builds.
Wendy appears so serious when she's bowling, yet off the lane, she's just about as happy-go-lucky as any woman on tour. Says she hasn't been bowling that well the last 2 weeks. She was really glad to see things fall together for her here in Pittsburgh.
She mentioned she did have a lot of confidence in the fall centers, though, and we had never been to Ohio before. And this week, Pittsburgh is the 5th year we've been here. Next week, Delaware, Baltimore. They're all centers that we have frequented in the last 5 years. So she feels very confident going to these centers in the fall.
Familiar territory is welcome indeed. Kim goes a little high, takes out 6 of them.
An obvious adjustment from the 2-pin that she left on lane 37 while going light on 37 makes the adjustment, but she gets a very hard back-end reaction on 38. Defeated Wendy then, but that doesn't mean anything right now. And again, that sharp back-end reaction prevented the 6th pin from going back to the 10. Just forced it to fall right into the channel. Watch here as the ball breaks very sharply, barely even catching the 6-pin, right in front of the 10. The 9-pin actually slid right behind the 10.
So Adler endures a bad break in the second frame. Let's see how she responds to that. Her husband, Tommy, is in the stands watching his wife. She is the breadwinner of the family. Tommy giving up a career to follow his wife along to support her on tour. Lots riding on this game.
Almost looking for the break. You can see Kim turning over to Tom, looking at Tom. He's kind of looking at her. What's going on? Now looking straight ahead. Tom does not have a bowling background, though, so he's really unable to get down and coach. He provides all that motivational...
personal enthusiasm, yeah.
Right, personal enthusiasm, support.
Ooh, that 10-pin looks like it's nailed down at that end of it. So Wendy is getting ready now. Strike, a spare, and then 9 pins here in the third. And so... Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Errors abound here in match number 2. No response. No response out of Adler after that errant shot. Finds the channel.
Well, Wendy basically ball stays right into a slide. Just, I tell you what, she barely missed it. She's going, come on, hang on, hang on. Oh, no. Still has the lead by 3 pins.
Let's see how she rallies here. Oh. Not falling. Not falling here in game 2.
Wendy is looking over. She's looking straight ahead, shaking her head. She's going to ask Rick Hudson. I keep doing that. Rick Ramsey. I'm sorry, Rick. Rick Ramsey to come over. Look once again at the pins now. The 2-4-5 is off spot and it is set down. I remember Wendy mentioning this in practice session, and she did bring it to Rick's attention in practice session that this was happening. They are going to slide the 5-pin over and put it back in line.
While they're moving that pin, let's take a look at this. Stats of the tournament: 68 in the field. 203 was the score and average to cash, and to make the show, 218.5 pins. There goes the movement. And Wendy's satisfied with that. Does she'll come back?
What's important, this is a very easy spare to chop. That 5-pin is over to the right more than it should be, then she could miss this and give it away. Puts her ball down, just waiting for the lane light to come back on. Oh, the 5-pin wasn't the problem, but the 4-pin was.
Is that a pin set or a shot mistake?
Well, the ball went into a slide. It was a shot mistake in that respect.
So 2 consecutive opens for Wendy Macpherson-Papanos.
If you call, Wendy did slide by a 9 or an 8-pin in the first game.
So she got 7 to go with the spare on the third.
Kim having difficulty on lane 38 with the ball jumping very hard in the backhand. Basically too much reaction right now. She uses the pinky finger. She has added this extra lift, extra support. It's a good tip for bowlers out there with any arthritic conditions.
So she'll pick up the spare here in the fourth. Had a chance to talk with Kim Adler earlier and asked her what provides motivation for her right now.
Right now, I think the motivation comes from the idea that whatever I do out here is for my husband and I's future. Whatever I accomplish is going to provide us with a better life or make it more tough. So it's become very important for me on every shot to make the best shot possible that I can make.
No worries for Adler here in the fifth frame. She puts two together. A spare in the fourth, a strike in the fifth. Wendy Macpherson has to answer after two. Come back in our absence. 2.5 frames taken place and strikes by every shot we've seen. Papanos still trailing by 5, has strung 3 together.
Wendy gets up and doubles in the fifth and sixth, and I tell you, all of a sudden, Kim had not hit the pocket, John, and she just, like she had never missed. And now we're having a strike fest. Head pin?
Not enough.
Both of these players extremely intense tonight. You can just see it in their eyes.
I'm unaccustomed to that, too, out of these two.
No.
They're very laid back in their personalities. Kim is just burning holes into the pins with her eyes.
Whatever makes them fall.
Adler, 235, her TV pair average. She's very happy as she bowled on position round 11 strikes. A spare and 11 strikes in her position round game. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a perfect game out of her on TV in the near future.
Well, she had hit the pocket the last 2 times successfully on lane 38. She had made the correction from going up high. She moved in a little bit to the left. She is right now adding a piece of tape. Apparently that ball just coming off her hand way too fast, no lift on it, and she did not get any reaction. Because on the lane, it did not appear that she hit a different part of the lane or really miss her target by a lot, but she did not have the lift and the release that she had on the other few shots.
That high game in the position round. And she gets them all in the 8th. So holding on to a 3-pin margin.
Both players have a lot riding here tonight. Wendy, again, trying to become the first player to win 3 titles this year. Kim has not won a title this year. She won 2 in 95. She's looking to try to capture her first title of 95 or 96. Currently asking for a re-rack. Again, seeing that the pins are off spot. From our angle, I'll have to say they didn't look too off there, but once again, we don't always see it as the players do.
Ninth frame, Adler leads by 3, working on a spare. Wow. Right when she needed it.
Shows you how important the right release and the feel is on the ball. Got out of that excellent. Super ball speed, all 10, no doubt. She's down low. She's fighting.
There's a little emotion.
Well, that was a big shot. It was the 9th frame. She right now cannot be closed out.
Great year for Papanos, as you saw. Boy, she comes right back in the 9th to add her own strike.
It's this, John. Whatever Wendy does here in the 10th, Kim is going to have to follow suit.
3 pins separate these 2 great bowlers.
almost smiling when she comes back. Really, Wendy has been working on her timing. She knew it was a bad shot. You usually can feel it right around their second or third step. She's just like, oh, please. Way out of time to the line, caused her to fall off balance. Ball had no chance.
Well, she'll get another toss here in the 10th frame. She will be unable to break 200. 196 is the best possible.
Wendy's key this week was to make sure her push away got out sooner. Apparently, that shot, she probably took her step, then pushed, and that caused the whole timing to go off.
And so her last shot only earns her 6 pins. 192, the final score to beat.
Well, Kim Adler must mark. And actually, lane 38 has not been her favorite.
Adler's best individual performance this year was a 4th place finish at the Newport News event.
Oh.
Missing the headpin, opening up a whole bunch. Oh, look at this. It's hit her hard. Emotionally, it's hit her hard. Wash out in the 10th.
John, she just needs a mark, and she totally washes out. Now, apparently on lane 38, when she got up in the 8th frame, she added that piece of tape. She felt like she made a good shot, and the ball sailed. There is more conditioner there. She did it again. This time she got a good release, but the ball sailed again. Must pick it up.
And that's all she wrote. A very sad finish for Kim Adler. So much riding on it for her and her family. We'll take a short break as Adler finishes in 4th place with $3,000. When we return, we'll show you the other top finishers competing here at the Three Rivers Open. Daniels, 10 national titles. Time now to meet the top finishers. This week, Stacy Ryder, 2 national doubles titles with Anne Marie Duggan. Cheryl Daniels, 10 national titles, including 2 weeks ago at the Golden Triangle Open.
Cindy Coburn-Carroll, 4-time All-American, made a run at the show this week. And Robin Romeo Massanti, the 1989 former Bowler of the Year, right up there again.
Marianne DeRupo was runner-up at the U.S. Open last week. She tied with Chris Hall, just named as a 1996 inductee into the Chicago Hall of Fame.
Chrissy Stewart from Cape Coral, Florida, the 1995 Rookie of the Year, and Jeannie Nacarado was the qualifying leader this week.
Jackie Sellers, 3 national titles, College All-American, and Kathy Doran, the only woman to represent the U.S. at the AMF World Cup National Championships.
The all-time leading money winner and top left-hander this week, Alita Sill from Dearborn, Michigan, and Carolyn Dorn Ballard, a 2-time national titleist.
Another tie between Sandra Jo Shirey, the defending champion here at the Three Rivers, and Debbie McMullen, the first woman to play at the Olympics for the United States. She did this in Seoul.
WIBC Hall of Famer Lori Nichols back in the finals this week, and Carol Giannotti all the way from Morley, Australia, back on tour this fall.
Dana Miller-Mackey, 13 national titles, 5-time Bowler's Journal All-American.
And John, my other announcing partner, bowls just a little bit better than you. Jan Schmidt catching a check this week, finishing up 29th.
And Kathy Zelke, 3 regional titles. She started bowling at age 5. Once again, the final score of match number 2. Wendy Macpherson-Papanos, 192, defeating Kim Adler by 5 pins. She advances to run into Kim Canady in the semifinal match. That's coming up next. Stick around. Welcome back, John Neighbor with Lisa Wagner as we prepare now for the semifinal match. Kim Canady electing to go first. Letting Wendy Macpherson-Papanos catch her breath. Kim, top qualifier, the last TV show here on the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour. Lost to Cheryl Daniels.
Missed a spare in that particular match. Oh, no.
Oh, my.
Not a nice way to open a match.
And she's been working on that, too. Coming out with guns a-blazing, she says.
Watch the head pin here, up against the wall, hits the 4, hits the 7, it spins not once, not twice, 3 times, maybe 4 times. Still doesn't fall.
Looks like part of the edge came over the channel there. 218.91 her average to qualify in second.
Bad break for Kim.
Well, she makes the best of it by picking up the spare in the first.
Seems things are sort of going Wendy's way so far tonight, as we saw Kim Adler miss the washout in the 10th frame of the last game when she only needed a spare to win the match. Lane breakdown, wow, lane 38 much better now than lane 37. And that's the lane she said she liked in the Open. That's why she finished there. Both Kim Adler and Kim Canady, though, have forced Wendy to finish on lane 37.
In retrospect, not as effective as it is Kim Adler would like it to have been. Papanos, 8 pro titles in her career. 2 of them coming in this year. Wow. Next up, Kim Canady. We had a chance to speak with her earlier. Asked her what particular part of her game she's been working on.
I think in the past I haven't been aggressive enough in matches and just kind of waiting for my opponent to make a mistake and just trying to stay clean. And I've really been working on just going out really aggressive and trying to make really aggressive shots in the beginning of the match. And I'm finding that they're making mistakes instead of me, and I'm a little more looser at the end of the match. So that's kind of my goal these days, to just really go out hard.
And she's saying to herself right now, what do I have to do to have all these pins fall? And that last shot, John, she almost left a very critical 4-pin.
Nice average, though, on this particular TV pair. That's got to be a nice thought in the back of her mind. Wow, 2-5.
Now, Kim's playing more of the outside line that Lisa was playing, not quite as far in as Wendy is playing. Kim, however, does not go as direct as Lisa Wagner does, nor does she have the ball speed. Very different styles, different approaches to the game. But it appears she is playing in relatively the same area of the lane. Switching balls, shooting spare. Going very hard and trying to go very direct at the ball. That particular ball she used to shoot at the spare does not hook as much.
Two in a row for Papanos, stepping up now in the third. 258 was her high game, a 160 the low game. Three in a row.
Back on it in lane 38.
Next week, Marianne DeRupo tries to repeat as champion as the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour returns to Holiday Lanes in Claymont, Delaware for the finals of the Delaware Open. Next Tuesday night, October 22, 11:30 p.m. Central Time, 9:30 Pacific. And we hope you'll join us next week, but right now, it's Papanos with a 20-pin lead here in the Three Rivers Open.
One more strike makes it 30. Whoa.
Danced all around that 10-pin.
Excellent shot, especially for lane 37, since we noticed that has not been her favorite lane for tonight. Wendy's trailing right now Tammy Turner in 1996 earnings. However, John, Tammy has had a horrible back injury, and she is not competing right now on the ladies tour.
That opens up the door, a possibility for Wendy to earn that. Oh, almost lost that one again. win that coveted Bowler of the Year title.
Kim Canady right now saying, okay, I've hit the pocket 2 out of 3 times now. What do I have to do to strike? Good match play record, 20 wins, 12 losses. That aggressiveness she was talking about paid off this week.
So a big strike in the 4th. Spare strike for Kim Canady. We take a look at our bowlers' position rounds, or position by rounds.
Kim Canady and Lisa Wagner, the 2 players of the top 5 tonight that had to qualify. Slow start for Kim, though.
And you can see Duggan's lead just building from the very first qualifying round. Match play round. 19 pins she trails by. There they go.
Big strike there. She came now within 9 pins.
2 in a row, putting a little heat on Wendy Papanos, 28 years of age, the right-hander out of Las Vegas on her 10th year on tour.
And I think you hit it on the head there, John, putting the heat on Wendy right now. She was a little free, loose swing right in the first 3 frames. We'll see what happens now. Trying to keep her lead, see if she responds.
Big hit. Right when she needed it. Boy, don't put the heat on someone like Wendy if she knows how to respond the way she's been doing today.
Wendy playing right around 14th, 13th board. Ball going to probably about the 10 at the break point. Hitting the pocket 6, slapping the 10. Wendy's really only made 1 critical error tonight. It was the 10th frame of the last game, John, when she got so out of time. So right now, she's looking down at her ball. She's concentrating on getting that push away going.
And that's 2 in a row. Papanos puts 2 together. We'll be back as coverage of the semifinal game here at the Three Rivers Open continues right after this. Back now as we look at the scoreboard, 3 strikes were thrown consecutively in our absence, and you can see nice strings developing. Papanos regaining the lead with the strike in the 7th. Canady responded nicely. She had 2 going in a row and made it 4 in a row. That 4th strike gave her the lead temporarily until Papanos threw one in the 7th.
John, these players, she's going to continue to strike, but I was going to say these players must not like bowling on TV. All they're doing is striking when we're away, and when we're here, they haven't been. They've been struggling a bit. Right now, though, Kim Canady has just been really staying with it. She did gain the lead while we were away by 1 pin, but Wendy said, sorry, I want it. Right now, trailing by 19, can cut it to 9.
So, here entering the 9th frame, a lot of strikes by both bowlers. Canady trailing by 9.
Kim can go to the wall for 270. Wendy Papanos can go for 279. It's too bad, John, these players didn't start it from frame number 1 and keep going, because Princess Lanes here was going to give player $1,000 for shooting 300.
Oh, almost had a bucket. Settles for leaving the 2.
And the chiropractic staff here on hand this week to help the ladies out from Rafferty Chiropractic Clinic. John Rafferty, Jim McFadden, Richard Rafferty.
Most helpful.
That's right. We always thank the gentleman for coming out, putting in a lot of time during the week to help these ladies feel and perform a lot better.
And Canady obviously a little disappointed in herself with 1 frame remaining. Papanos now entering the foundation frame, running a string of 4.
Kim still has a possibility to stay in this match, John. She can shoot 249. Wendy at this point is shooting at a 240 pace. If she does not string any more strikes together, Kim will have a shot.
One more. Big if. Papanos wants this title. And with 5 in a row, the numbers just keep on churning on. 20-pin lead, 1 frame remaining. Needs to mark.
Great effort by Kim Canady, though she just bounced back. If she would have struck there in the first frame when she left that 7-pin that turned and turned around, would have been a different ball game.
Hits them all, and it's over, and it is. Great bowling for Wendy Macpherson-Papanos. $3,800, the bronze medal prize for Kim Canady. A step down from her performance the last time ESPN televised the ladies' tour. So it's a matter of mere formality at this point, as the last shot falls. It's good. Wendy will take another shot. We'll take a short break. When we return, championship frame awaits. Stick around. Time now for championship frame as we take a look back at the first 3 matches. Papanos in the 10th frame needed a strike and 6 to win.
That's right. Wendy was working on a strike in the 9th. Must have this strike here in order to advance. Packs the pocket. No doubt all 10 would fall.
Match number 2. As a result of this, Papanos 222 to 203 advanced to meet Kim Adler, and it was match number 2 also decided in the 10th frame. Adler had a chance if she could convert the spare.
That's right. After leading by 3 pins, Kim must convert the 1, 2, 10. Head pin just behind the 10. Disappointing loss for Kim Adler.
So she falls 187 to the 192 of Papanos. Papanos advances to meet Kim Canady. This one was decided in the 9th frame.
Pretty much close to perfection the whole game. The shot here in the 9th frame that enabled Wendy just to mark in the 10th. No problem. She backed it up with 3 more and ended up with
big score, 11 strikes, 279 to 237. Papanos has the opportunity to win it all as she climbs up to the top rung of the ladder. Awaiting there, Anne Marie Duggan. The results of that just around the corner. Stick around. The trophy of the $70,000 Three Rivers Open in the sidelines as we get ready now for the championship match. Anne Marie Duggan, top qualifier, elects to allow Wendy to throw the first ball. Wendy, who has climbed the ladder successfully. Take a look at her breakdown.
And the breakdown is actually evening up a bit. As I mentioned, Wendy was near perfect last game. All strikes with that 279 with the exception of 110 pin. About the 4th frame, I believe.
Correct you are.
And that beautiful trophy, thanks to John Jones, the general manager here at Princess Lane, will be awarded to one of these 2 ladies at the end of this match.
Well, if you count the 8 strikes Wendy threw at the end of her 3rd game, that's 9 in a row as Anne Marie Duggan steps up now. 34 years of age, out of Edmond, Oklahoma. She answers quickly and with authority.
Much farther to the right than Anne Marie has played this week. She was deeper than any of the players, not only on the telecast, but any of the players in the field. She said that could be why she actually led this field by so much, almost 490 pins, I believe, was because she was able to get in deep and still get the ball to hit, and her carry, she said, was phenomenal, her light carry. However, tonight she is playing much farther to the right, actually swinging in to the break point where Lisa Wagner had.
2 in a row. Anne Marie Duggan serving notice as her father in the stands, Bob Pike. He attends a lot of her events, brings her luck. Certainly last year she was the runner-up with the Bowler of the Year award. Had the high average on tour last year, did Anne Marie Duggan. Now Wendy is making a run for that title this year.
One of Wendy's ultimate goals would be to be inducted into the National WIBC Hall of Fame, something that I'm sure will happen.
Missing the head pin and leaving an ugly, ugly split.
The same washout that Kim Adler left in the 10th frame, with the exception of the 8 pin now lying behind the 2 pin.
The statistics on your screen, of course, including her performance in the first 3 games.
She's going to try to hit left of the head pin.
Oh, big disappointment.
We saw Kim Adler throw that head pin behind the 10 pin. This time, Wendy actually throws it right around the 10 pin. Something that my heart always goes out to people that this happens to, because
Being
it's
too good.
Right, it happens to me every time I feel like I shoot it.
Oh, and the bump does not send the 7 down.
Now, Wendy's arm swing a little loose last game. You know, building momentum, nothing to lose. But right now, she does have something to lose. She's in the championship match. She's going for the title. There's a little bit more pressure. Anne Marie Duggan has opened up with 2 strikes at her.
And a simple process for the spare for Wendy Papanos. We talked earlier about what a great round Kim Adler had in the last day of match play, but Anne Marie Duggan had a pretty good round as we take a look at this stat.
Average 243 for the 8 games of match play. Big ones, 275, a 268.
That 259 in the position round was over Kim Canady, who rolled a 258.
Great final for the fans here last night at Princess Lane.
So after a fabulous last couple of years, we asked Anne Marie, why is it harder to repeat great scores after a good season?
I think that it mentally wears you out after a while. You get used to things going your way. You get pulled on from more directions than maybe you're used to get pulled on. You have to make more appearances, more interviews. And I think that those all take time. And so then time gets taken away if you're not careful from your regiment that keeps you up there. At least that's what happened to me.
It's a candid appraisal by Anne Marie. She has been a little bit disappointed with the season, but she says, you know, this disappointing year this year has probably been good for me. She's trying to put it all back together, and certainly if match play was any indication, Anne Marie does have it back together.
Well, Anne Marie did state to me, John, that she had been getting lazy with her practice regimen and also working out, and there was just not enough time to do everything when you are being pulled in different directions for those interviews.
So Papanos, trailing by 31 pins, defeated Anne Marie, one of the few to defeat Anne Marie in match play. It took a 268 pin to fall to do it. Imagine rolling 242 and losing. Oof.
Kim Canady just shot 237 and lost.
Yeah. Oh.
6 pin just sitting in the channel again. A little bit of a different approach right now, John. More apprehensive, maybe not quite as aggressive. Ball not driving as hard. 6 pin sits in the channel, 10 pin doesn't fall. Wendy at this point trying to be careful. Last game she came out, she was fiery.
Simple spare in the 4th makes it 2 spares in a row for Papanos. The youngest athlete ever to win all three majors, still trailing by over 30 pins. 10 years ago, voted Rookie of the Year.
Wendy's shaking her head, The lanes are changing. She's trying to figure out the change. I can't believe that they're changing that much in the last 3 to 4 frames after she just threw 12 perfect shots. I have to feel that because of the pressure, it's a big, big title here. First time a player could win 3 titles this year. She could become the first one to do it.
In the 310, a baby split, if you will.
She's trying to compensate. Now she knows the ball isn't driving hard enough. She tries to do it with her arm, something she's been working on in her timing. She says, when I get in trouble, it's because I start pulling my arm around the ball a little too early. Watch this. Actually hitting inside of target. The ball has been going out much farther, around to the 10th and 11th board. That ball never made it out to the right. It's because when she releases it, she almost chicken wings it, as we refer to.
So three spares in a row for Papanos. Duggan striking 3 out of 4 frames.
Anne Marie wanted to wish her mom, Carol, a happy birthday this week.
Would be a nice present to bring home a title, her first of the year.
An errant shot by Anne Marie there. The ball going extremely far to the right. Look how far this ball goes. Out to about the 3rd board. Comes back even harder. Too much reaction. She's like, hold on, hold on. Do not leave the 10 pin with it. Whew. Big break.
Solid spare in the 5th. She crosses over. Still enjoying a comfortable 32-pin lead.
And the circle around the 8-pin count there. A split.
And so Anne Marie Duggan back in the striking form here in the 6th frame. We'll take a short break. When we return, Lisa Wagner has a special guest for us. Stick around. Their position. John Jones has the best seat in the house, as you might expect.
And a highlight for John this week was the fact that the Special Olympic bowlers were able to come in, participate in the Pro-Am. They love being here with the Lady Pros. The Lady Pros always are so cordial to all the Pro-Am bowlers, as well as the Special Olympic bowlers. It really puts everything into perspective.
Well, after throwing 11 strikes in the 3rd game, Papanos gets her 2nd strike of the championship game here in the 6th frame.
Wendy needs to start striking right here, John. She could shoot a possible 235. Anne Marie Duggan would have to throw a couple more strikes in a row to stay at that pace, but you've got to start somewhere, and now's the time.
Well, 2 in a row, just as you predicted, Lisa. And the smile comes back to the face of Wendy Macpherson-Papanos.
John, she actually fell off balance a little bit that
Seemed
time.
to skid, didn't she?
Mm-hmm. A little off in her timing, but she got away with it.
Look at that match play record, 25, 6, and 1. Just overwhelming. Not caving to the pressure yet. That's a 2nd strike in a row here in the 7th.
Anne Marie has been working on a critical part in her game, actually, trying to get a smoother release, not as much hit, not the hit up on it, but get the ball through the front part of the lane a little differently. She used to send it at more of an angle to the right. She's trying to go straighter through the front part of the lane. She's been working with the CAT system. That's a computerized system that enables you to see the different projections and different ball speeds and helps to fine-tune your game. Look at that ball. Boy, what a difference there. That ball never made it right of 10. And the shot previously on lane 38 that we saw the replay, remember it went all the way out to about the 3 board?
Right.
So definitely an errant shot there inside a target.
Still, she converts for the spare in the 8th frame. Now Wendy, trailing 29 pins, has 3 frames to make up that difference.
Wendy has to feel like the door has opened up a little bit right here. Anne Marie Duggan letting up by not striking.
Eight pro titles in Wendy's career. It's a small number of individuals indeed who've earned the double digits in that category. Three in a row. Very strong.
Now, when the heat's been on Wendy all night, John, she has seemed to have been able to overcome it and just pack the shot, just like that one. She's now going to get up on the ninth frame. Again, a big shot. She strikes here, and I tell you what, she is finishing up on the lane that she said she liked in the beginning of the show.
Has certainly been good for her.
Nice bowling.
Certainly, and the pressure now rests with Duggan because Anne Marie knows Wendy's sitting in the catbird seat, if you will.
Once again, this shot, she keeps it beautifully on line. 12 to 10, just swishes the 5-pin. Her reaction, yes. Oh.
Could not have come at a worse time.
Holding a 35-pin lead at one point, just as little as 2 frames ago. This is how things turn around. All of a sudden, the pressure flips back to Anne Marie. She hits the area of the lane. Gets extreme back end reaction. Anne Marie has not won this year. She led this tournament by 490 pins.
And now trails by 5.
She can go to the wall for 220. Wendy would have to strike in the first shot in the 10th. Anne Marie playing lane 37 much differently than lane 38. Lane 38, she was playing outside around the first arrow. Lane 37, she is playing in around the second arrow. During the week, she was playing as far deep as the 4th arrow.
Anne Marie's had a difficult last couple of weeks. 2 weeks ago, a yellow jacket sting inflamed her arm so much it had to interfere with the game. Oh. And last week, she was just getting over a difficult cold. How dominant she was throughout match play this week here in Pittsburgh.
Well, with a spare here, she is going to force Wendy to mark in the 10th. Very disappointing right now, I know, for Anne Marie to have such a big lead so late in the championship match and to trail right now by 5 pins, going, whoa, how did I let this slip away? Wendy, though, has to mark. John, she's on her good lane. She's working on 4 strikes in a row.
We might just see the effective crowning of our bowler of the year with a performance here. Needs a mark. Good start, a little high.
John, she was much too careful on that shot. You could tell. She walked a little slower to the line. There's a lot riding. There was a lot riding. There's a lot of 2-time winners, though, this year. Not only Wendy, but Tammy Turner, Jackie Sellers, also Liz Johnson. These are all ladies that still have a chance for Bowler of the Year, with the exception of Tammy Turner, who is not going to be competing for the rest of the year. With that spare, it comes down to count.
8 pins to win, 7 to tie. 1 ball to do it in. So hard to guess. Looks good, and it's enough. She's the winner. Climbed up the ladder, wins the third title. First athlete on tour to do so, and $10,000 is her purse. We'll be back to talk with her. Stay with us, won't you? Score 212 to 210 in the championship game. Wendy, you win. First time an athlete this year has got 3 individual titles, and you look and sound emotionally exhausted.
It's incredible. I would have never guessed this evening.
Well, a great third game. The fourth one, though, went down to the wire.
It did, and I was shaking so much I just had to go because I was about to not be able to get started.
Well, very exciting for all of us. Congratulations. Goodbye. On behalf of Lisa Wagner, I'm John Neighbor. Thanks for joining me.